Welcome back, guys. Julian here. So we've got a new Opus model 4.6, which is pretty insane. The 4.5 has been amazing so far for me for all the product design work. So I just want to have a look at the kind of the article that they put out and what do they think it works for, what is better at, and so on. So we'll look at it now, and then we will move to Cursor and use Claude Code to actually build something together. So according to the article, it is better than Opus 4.5, which is kind of crazy in knowledge work. It'll be interesting to see that. It is better than GPT 5.2 as well. Agentic search kind of trumps everything, including its own little brother, Opus 4.5. Encoding, it's better than Opus 4.5. It's kind of similar to GPT 5.2 Codex. Hopefully it's going to be better than Codex. It's not a bad model, Codex, but I just feel like Opus 4.5, from my experience, has been a little bit better for what I do day to day. And reasoning, so reasoning without tools is better than everything really. Just a little bit better than Gemini, GPT models. When it comes to the one with tools, it's again better. It's a little bit better than GPT 5.2 Pro. What else do we have here? We've got some videos. You can watch that in your own time. This one is going to be interesting. So it seems to be terminal coding seems to be better than GPT 5.2 and much better than 4.5 Opus, which is super interesting to me. It is a little bit worse than Opus 4.5 and agentic coding. Again, statistics, evaluations is one thing, but then the actual experience and kind of your individual experience actually matters way more than whatever this thing here says. So let's actually look at the Cursor. So what I have here, I just have Vite and View application. I didn't make any changes. I don't even know if Tailwind is installed here or not. So the only thing that I have done, I just opened Claude Code. As you can see here, it has the Opus 4.6. I'm on the Claude Max subscription here. And yeah, so what I was thinking we can do, and the other thing that I did, I just ran the init command to just create a Claude document so it kind of knows what the hell is going on here. So let's actually go to Claude. I have this very simple prompt to generate a specification PRD for a modern web application. Well, that's my skills typing. Well, that shouldn't matter. Its purpose is to provide the ability to browse music albums, songs, be able to add songs to favorite lists, you know, like your Spotify kind of experience. The UI should feel modern and be responsive. At this phase, we will not need backend. Let's focus on the UX UI first. I think that is important. It seems to be the case that the backend work becomes easier and easier for these LLMs. The UX UI is still a little bit of a struggle. So let's actually kick off this. I'm also using Opus 4.6 extended in the Claude.ai environment. Okay, let's have a look at the PRD and let's actually appreciate how much it actually has written. It's probably too much for Claude Code, but yeah, we'll have to see. We've got success criteria, target users, core features. So it's a very detailed specification, which is good. All it means we just have to wait a little bit longer for the actual generation. How to manage favorites. Very cool. Let's see. Okay, so it also has predefined for us a color scheme. So it is the same model 4.6 here that we're using, and we are going to use the same one for the coding tasks. We'll see how this workflow actually works. So that's pretty cool. What I have here is just a simple prompt to review this product requirement document and use the front-end design skill. I feel like that skill, the front-end design skill in Claude Code has been pretty amazing for me. The designs, the kind of the prototypes are way more like tight and intentional. So we'll see what happens. The PRD has 448 lines, so this might take a while. I am in a plan mode, so we'll see what happens with it. I believe I'm going to just speed this process up. You guys probably know how Claude Code works. You don't have to look at it thinking, and I'll see you in a few minutes. It has written the plan. It did ask me if I want to change actually to React, but I chose to stay with the framework that we are currently using. It is going to configure the Tailwind version 4. Perfect. Yeah, so the PRD, I didn't specify in the Claude web version what technology I'm going to be using. So it assumed I'm going to be using React. I'm not. So this is why the table is here, and what we'll be using instead. Okay, it also asked me if I want to do like an MVP version, because it probably realized that this is too big of a task. So it asked me if I do want to focus on an MVP version, to just focus on like a few pages, or actually go all in. And it stated that it's going to take longer, but we're going to build everything. So I have chosen the longer path. I'm sure you guys have time to watch this. And yeah, I'm just going to accept this, not overthink anything here. Clear the context, because it probably took too much of its context, and just start building. And I'm going to probably speed this up, and I am going to see you in a few minutes. Damn, so it finished. It took 17 minutes and 26 seconds. So in total, around 20 minutes with the PRD document that we did in Claude web version. So let's actually run this. All right, cool. So this is our let me actually open this in Chrome, in the proper browser. Okay, so what are we thinking? It is purple, but I think it's purple because the PRD actually stated to use an accent color. Looks like purple-ish, so that's why it's purple. So I'm not sure if it's AI slop or not, but the PRD said purple, so it did purple. It's got a gradient here. I think it's kind of nice. It's kind of simple. I would say it's well organized. There is continuity for sure, so it's really obvious that this is a section that is separate to this section, and then the third section is at the bottom. New releases being at the top, that kind of makes sense from mental model and what you are looking for. Popular tracks also makes sense where it is. Featured playlists, maybe. Not sure if the hero section is not too tall. It's pretty nice. I mean, it pulled in the images, which is nice. It added a kind of a gradient on top of all the images. The carousel works. I mean, by the way, it did not make any mistakes. I mean, it did make mistakes while performing the actions, but then it did the type checks, it mitigated the errors, and once it said it is done, there's like 0 errors in the actual code base, which is pretty insane. That has been also my experience with Opus 4.5. So that's the homepage. Let's go to albums. Nice grid. We're going to look at the interactions in a second and how it actually performs. Favorites only. Yeah, that makes sense. Filter. Okay, songs. I'm assuming, yeah. So it's just going to be a flat list. So just mind you, it had to think about all those band names, titles, and so on. So that's a lot of work for 20 minutes, I would say. And then favorites, we should have a few favorites, right? Favorites. Okay, we can play all. Then there's light mode. Yeah, I don't know why you would use that in light mode. We can collapse the navigation as well. That's pretty nice. Everything is kind of a center aligned, still works. Very nice. Okay, let me just zoom in a little bit and let's look at the interactions itself. So explore, it doesn't have the cursor icon or the pointer, sorry, but that's fine, but it has a hover. You also get the hover on top of the hero image. The left and right also has its own separate hovers. New releases. That's pretty nice how it jumps. It's also nice that it actually is actually showing you that there's another album. I think that is very important. That's a very important pattern to keep in mind. So you can actually see that there is something else there. Let's see if the click and moving to the left actually works. That doesn't work. I'll probably expect to be able to click somewhere here and just scroll through that, but we can definitely fix that. That works. Pretty nice. It goes to the end and then comes back to the start. Hover effects. Pretty nice. Nice and clean. Again, using the accent color from the PRD. If I hit play, it takes me to the actual album with all the songs. We can... Nice. So it's kind of very, very similar to, I would say, Spotify, right? Just a different color scheme. Obviously a little bit worse. There's no obviously song, so it's not playing, it's just mimicking the fact that it's actually playing a song. That is pretty cool. Can we go to the next one? Yes, we can. Okay. Favorites. Added to favorites, we get an alert here. It's got a nice kind of a micro interaction here. Let's see if we can zoom in and you guys can see it. On the heart, when you click on it, kind of makes it bigger and then scales it down to its proper size. Very nice. I really like the aesthetic of it and the fact that it is it really feels like it's a finished thing. It doesn't feel like it's a random thing that was just built by some LLM. Okay, so I can add all, but I'm not able to remove all. Not sure if this should be an option or not, but then we can just do that. Pretty cool. The alerts stack on top of each other. We can undo as well. So far, I'm very impressed. I'm not one for hyping stuff, but this is super, super cool. Okay, what else? New releases, popular tracks. I'm guessing it's going to be the same kind of patterns. Yeah, playing on a song. It just brings up the player itself, which is pretty nice. What else? Featured playlists. Let's see. There's 29 tracks here. We get categories. So we can filter by categories. That's nice. Clear the filters. Favorites only. That's a cool feature. So you can just filter by the songs you have favorited. Very nice. So if I were to unfavorite, it's gonna remove it from the list. That's super cool. I mean, it really thought about many things here. Searching, let's see. Let's search for asleep. Dynamic search, love it. I mean, this is super impressive. I mean, it is simple. I think it's meant to be simple, really, as a player, right? It doesn't need like rainbows and unicorns and confettis and other bullshit. So this is awesome. So let's actually check the responsiveness, because it was supposed to be responsive. So let's actually use the responsive version here and see what happens. Okay, there we go. It's not bad. Where is the menu? Where did the menu go? Oh, it's at the bottom. So the menu is at the bottom here. We also have the player itself. I think it changes. Yes, so it it gets rid of the actual playtime here, and you can only pause or play. There's no option to move to the next song, which we should fix. Again, I mean, it's pretty nice. So that's the landscape version, that's the portrait version. Pixel 7. Okay, so the scrolling works on the mobile, on the touch device, which is awesome. Yeah, I mean, this is pretty cool, pretty cool. The fact that it works, it has some kind of a logic implemented in it. Very, very impressed with this work, I would say. Again, I'm not one for hyping things, but it seems to be well put together. The PRD was very comprehensive, so that probably helped. But at the same time, like, you know, the workflow isn't just using something like Claude Code. You gotta add some context, and the more context you kind of add, or the context that you're adding should really be intentional. If it is intentional, it's gonna generate pretty awesome stuff. So this is cool. Yeah, I mean, just real talk for a second. Are we cooked? I'm not sure if we're cooked as designers. But when you think about it, and you know, this took like 20 minutes. I know this is just a random idea. It took like 20 minutes. And when you think about what you can actually do in 20 minutes, even if you have like a fleshed out product requirement document, like you wouldn't be able to do this in like 20 minutes and put in the prototype together so it works. It all links together with micro interactions, being that an application itself, which you can actually deploy, get some feedback pretty quickly. So like in half an hour, you could have this in front of a customer, whatever that thing is, getting some feedback. So I'm not sure if we are cooked, because I see potential of actually adding more elements here. Well, not adding more elements, but separating elements here, making things a little bit more maybe sophisticated. But at the same time, as a starting point, you want to get something out super quickly. Half an hour, Claude Code, Opus 4.6, send it off, get some feedback, iterate on it, iterate 10 times, spend 2 days, and you might have like a pretty awesome asset, you know, that you can actually use as a handoff document between design and development. Or if you want to, you know, if you're brave, you can maybe try and deploy and start monetizing whatever you have built. Super impressed. I think this year is going to be crazy. It's going to be much crazier than last year. I think many things will align this year for many functions. So anyway, I'm going to work on this a little bit more. I'm going to add some backend to it, the actual maybe albums, maybe hook up Spotify API to see my music here. And yeah, I'll see you in the next one. So thank you, and you know, just like, subscribe if you like the content, and hopefully I'm going to be putting out more non-hypey videos in the future, something that you can actually use at work to increase your own productivity. So thanks, and I'm going to see you later. Bye.